Now that we have a way of describing decimal place values, we can talk about rounding decimals to one of those place values. So, for example, I could say round 2.9841 to the nearest hundredth. Noticing that I have a tenths and then hundredths place, this is asking me to round to this place. 2.9841 is between 2.98 and 2.99. But then, noticing that this next digit is a 4, that means I have 4 thousandths and change. 5 thousandths would be the middle point, so this number is closer to 2.98. So the technique for rounding decimals is exactly the same as the technique for rounding whole numbers, except we're referring to a place to the right of the decimal point. Note the TH. I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, not the nearest hundred. So I refer to the next place to the right. If it's smaller than 5, I round down. If it's bigger than 5, I round up. Also notice, we typically do not write zeros to the right of the specified place. So in this example, I wrote 2.98 and not 2.9800. This is not strictly speaking wrong, but it's very weird. Don't do it. We do typically write a 0 in the specified place if one turns up there. So for example, suppose I wanted to round 24.38992 to the nearest thousandth. Noting tenth, hundredth, thousandth. This number is between 24.389 and 24.390. Noting that the following digit is a 9, this is closer to 24.390. We will typically include the 0 in the thousandths place. We can also round repeating decimals by continuing the pattern. So for example, suppose I wanted to round 3.83 repeating to the nearest 10 thousandths. Well, alright. So this number is between 3.10ths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, and 3.8384. These are the two 10 thousandths that this number is between. This number is 3.838383, and so on. The pattern repeats. So 10 thousandths. The next place contains an 8. This rounds to 3.8384. And finally, we'll sometimes have a rounding instruction that doesn't do anything. If we're instructed to round to a place that doesn't even appear in our number, we may write in trailing zeros, or we may just leave it. So for example, suppose we wanted to round 1.3 to the nearest hundredth. Well, if we wanted to, we could write 1.30, writing in the trailing 0 in the hundredths place. Or we could just write 1.3 by itself, depending on the context. I would say if we were in a situation where rounding to the nearest hundredth was something we were called on to do, this would be better. But neither one of them would be wrong, or most of the time even particularly weird. Alright, so I'm going to have you try some examples. Round each of these numbers to the nearest thousandth. Pause the video and try this now. All right. So 14.28763. In the thousandths place, I have this 7. This number is between 14.287 and 14.288. The next digit is bigger than 5, so I'm going to round up to 14.288. 0.020376. In the thousandths place, I have a 0. This number is between 0.020 and 0.021. Noting that the next digit is smaller than a 5, I round this to 0.020. 1.4 repeating, that's 1.444444, and so on. The 4s go on as long as I'd like. But I only need to look at the thousandths place and the following place. This is between 1.444 and 1.445. The next digit is smaller than 5, so I round down and get 1.444. Finally, 1.7 doesn't have anything in the thousandths place. Its last place is the tenths. I'll round it and write 1.7 0/100ths 0 thousandths. Or I could just write 1.7.